This past Saturday, I watched the Chinese Grand Prix, the race so boring that it only had one lead change. So I'm here to just give a quick kind of rundown on my thoughts on F1. This is the second ever F1 race I've ever watched. The first one I watched was the 2018 Japanese Grand Prix, and Lewis Hamilton won that one. And oh look, Lewis Hamilton won this one, so I just seem to have that kind of luck. Anyways, I'm going to start off with the negatives so we can get the video to end on a bit of a high note, but oh boy, there's a lot to go over. Let's start off with what I dislike. First thing I want to talk about here is the on-track product. It's absolutely atrocious. There is very, very little passing on the racetrack. I think a lot of that has to do with all the dirty air that comes into play because of all the aerodynamics. I don't know, I'm not a physicist. I'm especially not a Formula 1 physicist, but I'm pretty sure that most people will agree that there is not a lot of passing in F1. I mean, the one major change there was in the top three was when Charles Leclerc had to pull over for Sebastian Vettel to go around him, and even that was barely a pass. There was some jostling for position mid-pack, but I think if you really tried, you could probably count the amount of on-track passes. Also, the field was really spread out. At one point, Lewis Hamilton, I think, got out to like a 7 or 8 second lead. And, I mean, maybe that's normal for F1, but it's just not enjoyable when the leader is so far over the second place driver that he has literally no chance of losing. It just kind of makes the race a stalemate, and it's just boring to watch after a while. That kind of leads me into my next point, the absolute dominance by like the top 3 teams in F1. You could almost call them like the big 3 of Formula 1, and at least in NASCAR, someone who's able to spoil the big 3. Now, originally in this segment, I was going to talk about how the announcers are way too excited and over-commentate turn 1, lap 1, but I think this clip from the Chinese Grand Prix pretty well sums my point up.
And it's lights out, and away we go. Bottas ahead of Hamilton, who got away well. Hamilton scoots past Bottas on the inside. Vettel challenging on the outside. Charles Leclerc goes on the inside of Vettel. Hamilton leads Bottas, leads Leclerc, leads Vettel.
Could you hear that? I don't know if it was loud enough. Maybe they should be a bit louder next broadcast. So yeah, that's everything I don't like. I know that it's kind of a long rant, but now let's go over what I do like. The broadcasting is pretty alright. Not quite as good as NASCAR on NBC, but it's pretty alright. There aren't any commercials throughout the race, and Brian Tyler's F1 theme is pretty cool. So, I mean, you know, that's pretty cool. The cars, they look nice. They have good liveries. The crashes in Formula 1 are fairly dramatic. That's mostly because the slightest contact will send one guy flying into the Shadow Realm. Here's probably my favorite part about F1, the podium music. It's pretty nice. I think it's like Carmen Prelude to Act 1. It's some pretty good podium music, not gonna lie there. So, final verdict. Do the positives of F1 outweigh the negatives? No. Am I now an F1 fan? Yeah, no. No, I'm definitely not an F1 fan. For now, I'm going to be sticking to IndyCar for my open wheel racing fix. You know, the margins of victory are just so much closer. You're never going to get a... Wait a minute.